The curse stays strong. Fueled by countless greedy corporations who adapt without understanding, it has flourished. Out of the currently produced 42 adaptations, merely 5 can be survived by the population at large. And the new release of Sony only made it stronger. The movie Uncharted wasn't just imperfect, it failed at adapting the spirit of games. But today we aren't here to mourn. We are here to find the cause, the truth, and that is what this video entails. You see, it all started in 2008 when 3 producers ganged up on 2 writers, Thomas Dean Donnelly and Joshua Oppenheimer, to make them write the script of Uncharted. This made headlines in 2009. And even Nathan Fillion expressed his interest in playing the role of Nathan Drake. With trust of Naughty Dogs, they went full steam ahead. The script is available online due to some Sony hack, but the writers are the 2 above mentioned and not Russell, who changed the direction of the movie completely. This will be elaborated later on in the video. Actually, the next paragraph. Then 2010 rolls in and rolls out, and just when it is over the horizon, Doug Belgrad and Matt Tolmach, co-presidents of Columbia Pictures, announced that the first movie will be based on the first game. The 2 writers who were mentioned above unfortunately pieced out of this doomsday scenario, and David O. Russell, the aforementioned credited writer, joined in. He ignored Nathan Fillion's request and got Mark Wahlberg in for the role of Nathan Drake. Yes, 10 years ago he was going to be Nathan Drake and not Tom Holland. In his initial pitch, he proposed Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci were going to be playing roles of father and uncle of Nathan Drake respectively. There is, as you may have all known, there is no father or uncle in any of the games. A father figure, Sully, yes, and a romantic interest along with a typical Grady Uncharted villain is all the key characters there were in the first one. So I did some digging, and in this article on IndieWire.com, Russell describes his vision of Drake's extended family by putting them in fraught, globe-trotting situations with some of the world's most influential people. He says, "This idea really turns me on, that there's a family that's a force to be reckoned with in the world of international art and antiquities. A family that deals with heads of states and heads of museums and metes out justice." So I wanted to know what kind of movies he produced at that time, to get to know what an insane idea this was going to turn out to be. So I fired a Wikipedia and found out that it was The Fighter that was being produced when he was called for Uncharted, and it was about a junior boxer whose rise to claim to the WPU lightweight championship title, as well as his difficult relationship with his mother, romantic interest, and older half-brother. Also, the movie he left Uncharted for was called The Silver Linings Playbook, which was about a former teacher named Pat Solitano who suffers from bipolar disorder and moves back in with his family. I mean, this guy was clearly in his family phase, and if it was supposed to succeed, then I believe it would have been up there with Fast and Furious franchise. So it's safe to say that we all avoided a bullet there, but not the final one. In the midst of July, Neil Berger was reported to step in as replacement for Russell and went on air to say that they were writing from scratch. The director of Limitless, for people who don't know, he went back to the game saying it's filled with intense scenes and is hoping to translate them to film, sticking to the definition of adaptation. And it was a very smart choice. but a short-lived one, as in August 2012 he dropped out to work on Divergent. I couldn't find any scripts online, so maybe it wasn't released by Sony Hack or it was taken down later. But the story goes on, and in an unknown date, let's say 2013, they hired Mariana and Cormac Wibberley. These two writers of National Treasure are exactly what Sony was looking for, but with Nathan Drake as the protagonist. Hell, that was the title of this article on Collider. Sony thought that they would wait for script to be completed before hiring a new director. A smart move, I must say. However, in the beginning of 2014, a new director and writer emerged from the shadows, Seth Gordon and David Guggenheim. Gordon here was the helicopter pilot in Baywatch, but more importantly a director of countless TV shows and documentaries. And David Guggenheimer comes from the family of Guggenheimer writers. His notable works being Safe House and Stolen, things I had no idea existed before reading them on Wikipedia. I found the scripts online but couldn't open the doc. However, the reviews, numerous as they were highly negative. They were going full steam anyways, with the production date and release date all scheduled. This was very good, because in November, Mark Bowl was asked to write the script of the movie, because he wrote Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, the game. Poor fella was given 3 weeks to polish Guggenheimer's script. But in 2015, when Uncharted 4 was supposed to be released, ended that next year, the movie side of things were looking grim. Seth wanted to escape anyways, so he just flew a helicopter to a set of Baywatch and was later credited as such. With that excuse, we can all say safely that he coptered away from this disaster zone. That and the hack made them push the release date to 2017. I believe that's the release date of Baywatch. But this is just the halfway. It's the intermission in this storyline. So have your popcorn while I massage my 2 brain cells. Now people were getting suspicious. Since the 4th installment is out, and people like Nolan North argued that fans didn't need the movie since they were recovering from Pokemon Go. But Neil Druckmann said openly that the important aspect of the film should be relationships. As long as they stick to it, it is going to be a massive hit, is what I added for the sake of irony. Sony hired John Carnahan and Sean Levy, famous for Real Steel and Night at the Museum series. In 2017, Carnahan had finished the script. This fella, a writer of A-Team, knew how to set it apart from Indiana Jones by making sure they swear as much as a bunch of drunken pirates. The reason being Uncharted fits the mold of being an anti-hero, and so it needs elements like cursing and showing body, unlike the heroic acts depicted in Indiana. Rafe Judkins, a famous TV writer, was swiftly called in to make all the R-rated elements disappear. And Spider-Man was hired for some reason. A young man who looks more like a teenager playing the role of an experienced mass-slaughtering ladies' man and an experienced thief. What could go wrong? Well, as we all know from Wikipedia, Levy didn't stay to find out. At the end of 2018, he reloaded his save file and renamed it Free Guy. In 2019, Sony experimented with the guy from 10 Cloverfield Lane and that one episode of Black Mirror. He was hired, but he left just as swiftly. And then they went to Travis Knight, who recruited Mark Wahlberg for the role of Sullivan this time. He doesn't look like it. He doesn't look like it. No, there's nothing in common. They didn't even try. and he himself left in 3 months. Probably the shortest exit ever taken by a director. Sony lost their release date again, and it was a sad ending for such an ambitious project. Or was it? Because Ruben Fleischer, the Venom director, was hired and it finally started moving on to the finish line. Or did it? Because on July 15, 2020, filming came to a halt due to pandemic, and in August someone tested positive for coughing. No one was hurt, reportedly, and so the disaster that we will ignore for the rest of time was born. It only took the sacrifice of 8 writers, 7 directors, and 3 actors. 4 if you count Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake. There's also Matt Pat and Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. So 4, yeah. They were all just used as replacements, and the end result is for all to see. The video game curse has once again been strengthened, and now I await the sequel in 2040. And if you guys like the video, then like, share, and subscribe, or comment down below, and just, learn from this. Never trust or set any sort of expectations for movies or TV series that have gone through development hell. This is what the end product looks like. Zoom in for all to see, and beware of future or even old movies. That will be all. Thank you very much. Goodbye.